Hello again, friends, Romans, and countrymen. This is Scott Welsh, and this is the Beating the Market weekly YouTube video, and it is utter chaos in the studio this week. We have family members all over the place, running around, having a great time. I'm having a great time, but it doesn't make for easy recording, as you may or may not be able to figure out. But we're going to have a good time here together on our video, and we're going to talk about the Heron taking on Friday trading. We talked about this last week, didn't we? Well, yes, we did. And now let's get to it. Three things for today. Friday trading isn't just for the Hornet robot anymore. Haha, we'll talk about that. And trading the dollar Swiss on only Fridays, it can be fun. Haha, why is it fun? We'll talk about that. And if you trade it with the Heron, it's more active than the Hornet. Whoa, and it's more money with the Heron. Whoa. And we have a big question. If it works on multiple systems, and I guess instruments would be a better word, but if it works in multiple ways, does that make a methodology more robust? Well, we'll find out and we'll talk about it. Now, as I said, family's here. They took a picture of me and they made a bobblehead for me. Isn't that nice of the family to make that? I think we look remarkably similar, don't you think? But anyway, I'm trying to bridge the gap between us on the internet since I don't have a full studio yet. So there's a shot of me and my little friend. All right, moving on. The Heron takes on Fridays. But last week we talked about the Hornet robot. Hornet is not the Heron. But we talked about it trading only on Fridays, and we talked about that it's just a ridiculous concept. What kind of trader trades on only one day? It's ridiculous, right? Our ideas of a trader that they come in at 6:30 a.m. on Eastern time and they're at their computer. They never leave, they never take lunch, and they review the videos at 5 p.m. Eastern every day. And they stay up till midnight, and they get 4 hours sleep. You know what I'm talking about. Trading on one day a week is, I mean, that's just ludicrous. But, but, we know that it more than doubled an index fund. It was twice as profitable on hypothetical backtesting paper than an index fund. So are you telling me that we can beat the best investment vehicle on earth, according to the experts, an index fund on one day a week? You see what I mean? It's worth talking about. And this week we're going to talk about how the Heron does on Fridays only. Is it just a pipe dream? Or is this trading one day a week idea kind of crazily good? All right, first things first, what's the difference between the Hornet and the Heron? Well, I get this question a lot, so let's clear it up. The Hornet is a day trading robot on the 15-minute chart, and it came first. I've started working on it in 2013. I started trading it live in some form or another in 2013 also. It's been trading unoptimized, at least the dollar yen robot, hasn't really been touched or altered at all since 2014. It's been around a while, okay? It's my very first. Only lifetime members can get it. It's super special. It's the first day trading system where I went, wow, I really want to trade this. This is what I've been looking for. Took me years to get there. The Hornet was the first time I got there. Now, the Heron is similar, but it's only about 2 years old. It doesn't go back all those ways, all those years. And it has a different entry method, similar but different. And it has a different way it exits, similar but different. And it has different targets and different stops. So they're similar, getting that impression, but not the same. But the methodology is the same. What's that methodology? Well, first determine a trend. I do not day trade against the trend. I love counter trend trading more than anything. Well, not more than anything. I like chocolate cake sometimes. But I love trading against the trend because you can get huge wins and high win percentages and blah, blah, blah. But for day trading, consistency. And consistency is the word. Counter trend systems can work and do great for short periods of time. But going against the trend will have down times. It'll come back, but it'll be down. If you go with the trend, it's way, way more consistent according to my research. Got it? So I go with the trend. I determine it, then I go with it. So if the trend is up, I go long. Trend is down, I go short. And I go for small wins. I know, risk to reward, blah, blah, blah. Small wins, bigger stops, emergency stops. Usually the stops, the actual losses in real life are about the same as the wins, maybe less, right around that. But the win percentage is high. And what's high? Anything over 60%, I think, is high. 70% is amazing. Okay, so the methodology between the two is the same. And sorry I spent a couple minutes on that, but I want to be clear. They're similar, but not the same. Heron's available to everyone. Hornet's available only to lifetime members. Got it? Now, how did the Heron Friday only do? Now, these are TradeStation hypothetical backtesting numbers, right? And people tend to write me and are a little bit freaked out. Well, it's hypothetical. What's it real life? What's it real life? The numbers on my website under the performance tracking page are real. Those are actual trades from my actual robots, not demo, real. Okay. And every month or so, every handful of trades, I'm going to put a hyperlink that gives you a picture of my actual account with the exact same balance that is on my website, just to give you a feel that it's real. Okay, so you'll see a hyperlink every handful of trades that shows just a picture of my account. It's the same number, but we're trying to learn to trust each other. Okay, I want you to trust the numbers. Now, what's also interesting about that performance tracking is that I put what backtesting says I should have made. See? So when I talk about hypothetical backtesting numbers, it's typical for people to want to say, "Oh, that's backtesting. It doesn't do that in real life." But if you look on performance tracking, you can see how real life does to backtesting. And if you do your addition on my website, you'll see that real life has been significantly better than what testing says we should have made. What does that do to your brain? It makes my brain very happy. So keep that in mind. What we're talking about today, though, is nothing live about it. This is all hypothetical backtesting data, and it's not MT4 data, right? It's TradeStation. Every platform is slightly different. The way they do their indicators, the way they calculate it, everything's different on every platform, not by a lot. But MT4 tends to make me angry a lot of the time, so I do my big testing on TradeStation, then I confirm it on MT4, and then I confirm that on multi-charts. And when I get all of those platforms to agree, we get magical, magical results. It works out very nicely, okay? So you got all that? We're going to talk about the dollar Swiss Heron, and these are TradeStation numbers, and hopefully I have the right chart queued up. Oh, I do. Here's the Heron Friday only. So let's take a look at the performance report. And it will probably take 3 to 6 hours for this to load because I want it to load immediately. But I could have loaded smaller amount of data to get that to pop up, but I wanted you to see here are the periodical returns. Now, 2003, you see it had a loss, but it was only a small portion of the year. So from 2004 on, and in 2003 full year, actually, that was also profitable. So don't let that freak you out, but I left that there to show you. You can see from 2004 all the way to 2018. It's been doing great in 2018. Whoa, look at that. And only 3 trades. This is the Heron. Now, if you compare that to the Hornet from last week, similar, right? Do you remember? No losing years from 2004 on the Hornet either, huh? And let's take a quick look while we're here. Win percentage is right around 70%, 69.97%. Now, this is a very small trade size, as you saw, only 0.25, okay? You can use more depending on what leverage you can get in your country, and I'm learning to hate my country because they never let us have any leverage. I'm angry with my country's regulation laws, but that's another webinar. We'll talk about that later. Okay, back to the slides. As I said, 70% win rate, no losing years since 2004. Wow, Heron Friday only. That seems like the Hornet. And let's break it down. This Heron system I just showed you, Friday only, makes twice as much money as the Hornet. And you can compare and contrast, or you can just take my word for it. It's not super important that we go back and review all the stuff from last week. But it makes more money but it also has more drawdown. Well, why is that? Because it trades way more. The Heron methodology is built to trade. It gets into trades easier and faster and gets out of them. It triggers much more often. The Hornet is much pickier. So because the Heron version trades so much more, we can make more. But we also have drawdown, right? But remember from last week, the problem was it didn't make enough money. Ha ha ha, the Heron makes more money. So when you're breaking this down and applying this to your life, again, these videos aren't about necessarily buying my robots. They're about learning about trading. Apply it to your own trading. That would make me very happy. But if you have a system with a little bigger drawdown, but it creates the money that you want, then maybe that drawdown might be worth it. Okay. Now, normally, despite what I just said, it's probably better to have less drawdown, all things considered. But we're in a situation here where we need more money. We're only trading 1 day a week. So maybe this time it's worth the drawdown. See what I'm saying? Less drawdown is almost always better. But if we love this 1 day a week stuff and we can make more money, now, as I said, and this is my cue cards, obviously it says just that. If you love the concept, I'll say it again, then maybe you pick the one with a little bit higher drawdown so that you can make more money. But that's not all. Let's go back to TradeStation and let's take a look at the Heron version of the Swiss franc. Again, Heron methodology, but this is on futures. How do you think it's going to do? Any guesses? Well, you might as well guess because the screen isn't coming up. Right? Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm so pumped when TradeStation doesn't come up. Now, I know I just said TradeStation is my favorite platform, but for some reason on my laptop, it comes up a little slower. Anyway, back to live action. Here is the performance report. Win percentage, not quite as high, but over the 60%, so I consider that high. And here's some periodical returns. Now, the cool thing about futures, as you might know, is that data goes back farther. Sometimes I can't get past 2003, and sometimes I can't even get all of 2003 on some Forex pairs. Well, futures, you can go back so far. I go back to 2002, and lo and behold, no losing years on the Swiss franc Friday only. Isn't that crazy, right? You can see there aren't a lot of trades. 20 trades a year is not a lot because we're only trading 1 day a week. But isn't that interesting? Now, the problem with that futures contract Swiss franc is that you can't really go lower than one full contract, whereas Forex, you can kind of tailor it to your needs. So there's even a potential to make more money, but also the drawdown gets high, and it might get too high depending on your account size. But isn't that interesting that we've done the dollar Swiss Hornet, dollar Swiss Heron, and now Swiss franc, similar, in futures, and they all kind of look the same. Okay, bottom line, there is something attractive about only trading 1 day. For me, I love making money, but I also love not being in trades. What? Not contradictory. I love making money, but I don't love action. And this gives me that combination. Now, you may love action, right? Maybe it's not for you. That's fine. But do you have a trading system that you use that maybe you overuse? Could you trade it less? Could you trade your system on 1 day? That was the question I asked myself about my systems, and look what happened. Very consistent. And we talked about two different things today that actually made more money. But we also mentioned on 1 day a week, you get less market exposure. If you're not in the market, you can't be in the market for that black swan, right? We talked about that last time. But if you read the newsletter from yesterday, which comes out on Wednesdays, I'm not going to lie to you and say Friday trading is easy. It can be difficult. If you get distracted by an idiotic tweet or a news report or something, holding that trade over the weekend can be scary. So that's something to really, really mull over. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, nothing happening, and Friday you get a nice win rate and you make money. That's great. But if you're going to consider something like this, you will definitely have to hold over the weekend. And that might be great for you. Maybe you kind of like that anticipation. I'm just saying. That's either a good or a bad, depending on who you are. All right. There's good news, though. I come to you this week with good news. Trading on Friday only looks good on two different robots and also a separate futures market. So, two different robots, similar but different, and a completely separate market, and they all looked identical. What does that mean? To me, that leads me to believe that we are onto something here. Three different things, and they all look profitable? Does that make it more robust? That was our question number 3. Well, to me, the answer is yes. So take the system you have and throw it into different spots. If it looks the same on a bunch of different instruments or systems, you might be onto something. I'm going to work more on MT4 again. This was almost all TradeStation data and research. I'm going to be doing more work on this because I am absolutely intrigued. Got it? We might reconvene sometime in the future. All right, if you're interested in courses, again, I'd love for you to apply all this stuff to your own trading and your own systems. But if you're interested in mine, you can go to kajabinext.com and search for me, Scott Welsh, and I'm there. We're over almost 1,100 on YouTube now. Wow, it's growing like crazy. Excuse me. And you can always join the newsletter if you're not a member of that by going to scottwelsh.me, and there's a little button and you give your email and there you go. All right, there's my email contact information. That's all this week. This Friday only stuff is getting crazy. We'll be back next week with another video, and I look forward to it. See you then.